Greetings, YouTubers. This is my 1999 Dodge Neon. I've got 101,000 miles on it, and I'm going to show you how to pull the dash off here in order to get this instrument cluster out. If you have a Neon, you've probably had some cases where you go to start your car up and you find out some of your gauges aren't working or your cluster, nothing is working. And what happens, there's contacts in the back of this that go into another socket. And when the temperature gets cold, and this mainly happens when it's cold, if you live in the northern climate, you go to start the car up and you notice your gauges aren't working and you kind of tap on the cluster there, then it'll come back on and go back off. Well, what happens, there's, like I said, a set of contacts back there that go into another socket, and when it gets cold, metal shrinks, plastic shrinks, and these things sometimes lose contacts. Kind of annoying, but I'm going to show you how to pull this out and shove it back in where those contacts will hopefully make contact and your problem will be over with. Now really the only thing we need to do this is a Phillips screwdriver, and the other two optional things, maybe a magnet in case you drop one of the little screws, and a good set of hands and maybe a little muscle to lift up on this dash. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is go ahead and get your hands right up under this plastic here and kind of push up on this here. And once you do this, this will release this clip here. It's on the bottom of this plastic, and there are clips all across this dash. So what we want to do is just kind of pull up on it a little bit and run your hand back across this side over here and off to the right, and just kind of pick up on it. And when you do, just pull it out slowly like this. And out it comes, and we'll just kind of slide it out the driver's side door here. And we'll push this out like this. Here's what the underside looks like. You got these little clips here that kind of hold it down in place, that keep it from rattling all the way around. And if you have any of these clips loosened or broken or missing, it will cause a rattle. Then you got these guys here that kind of go in an angle that go in to the top of the dash, and they actually go into these little holes right here. One there, one there, one right about there, and one right there. And this is a good opportunity if you have these little speakers up here, which I don't. You can actually fix them if you have any rattling noises or anything like that. And actually I have the connectors for them right there if I want to actually do that right there. So, but anyway, we're into the dash. We're into the instrument cluster, I should say, and there it is. So now what we got to do is grab our Phillips screwdriver. We have 4 screws. We got one here, one right there I should say. We got one right there, and there's one on the bottom right here on the left. It's kind of in there, kind of far, and you'll have to get a pretty long screwdriver, but you can get these out. So we'll go ahead and pop these out. And here comes one, and now you know why I have my magnet here, because sometimes these things can fall down in the dash. And here we go, there's one screw that's out. And here comes the one on the right lower side. This one's not too bad to get into, but the one I just took out is kind of harder to get into. And we'll take my magnet and just kind of fish it out. And top one there, I'll grab that. Get that out of there, and we'll take the last one out right there. And get that out of there. Try not to drop it. Get it out, and we are free of all the little screws. Now what we got to do is go ahead, take our hand, and just simply pull out like that, and this will release the entire instrument cluster. We'll set it off to the side, and often there's this plastic foam on the top, and it's usually not worth keeping. It's pretty bad shape, so I'll just kind of deal with that later. Now here are the 2 plugs. You got one on this side, and you got one on this side, and sometimes they just lose contact, and you just got to basically pull the cluster out and push it back in. And let me flip this around, and here is the back of it. And you can see these plugs. Now if you have a really bad case, you can try to bend those plugs a little bit, but I don't recommend that. And as you can see here, we got a plug there, and we got a plug there, and this just kind of gets pushed in to those 2 guys there, like I said. And there are some stories. People have told me that sometimes soldering joints go bad inside these clusters. But usually they're not too bad to work on. But if you have to replace a light or anything, then you go in here and there's all your lights. You just turn those and you get a bulb and you put it back in. Let me unscrew one of these for you. Set it over here off to the side. Hopefully you can kind of watch me do this and hold the camera in one hand with the other. Let's see. The idea is you just grab one of these like this and turn it and pull it out. And these are the little bulbs that you can replace if you have one that gets burned out. Sometimes if you just tap them, they start working again. It's all about the connectors and how they designed this, but that's how you take it out, and just all you got to do to put it back in, just clean this up a little bit and shove it back in and turn your key on and make sure that everything is working. Then if it is working, just simply drop it back in like this, set it in there like that, and just kind of push in like that, and it should be working. And now I'll grab my key and we'll see if it is working still. Yep, so everything's working. Awesome. So that's what you got to do, but if you don't want to take out the dash, take all this out and you're in a hurry, just try tapping it a couple times. It may start working again, but I don't recommend hitting it too hard because you will break this glass, and then you'll have to go out and spend 50 bucks. If you're like me, you don't want things to be broken. You want to keep everything original. So, and of course to install it, you just simply slide this back in the top, get these little pegs here started first, and just push down on this and it will clip back in. And you know, since I'm on a roll here, let me just go ahead and do that for you. Oh, and before we put the dash in, I'll show you why I like to use a magnet. A lot of times if you can't get your hands down there, you can just kind of take your magnet and push the screw in like that and turn it with a magnet, and believe it or not, it actually helps out pretty good. So we'll go ahead and put that screw in. Alright, we got that one in. I'm going to do the other one over here on this side. And now the last one is in, and we are done. Now we'll go ahead, we'll slide this dash cover back in here. Right, we'll go ahead and grab it, fish it back in. This is actually one of the better dash covers. This is actually in really good shape still for the car. The car's been kept up very well. Still a lot of these Neons on the road, tens of thousands today. I was impressed. I was pretty amazed to see how many that were still on the road. So these cars are worth keeping and fixing up. In case the gas goes to $5 a gallon, you'll have something that gets 35 miles a gallon. Believe it or not, mine has air conditioning too, which I really like. Okay, we got the dash, like I said, and we got the top of it started down into those little hooks, those eye holes that I showed you earlier with those little hooks that slide down into those holes. And now we'll go ahead and just put this in there like this. And where these clips are down here, just kind of take your hand and knock them in there. Same with the top. Make sure they're all in. And I go over here to the right. And I think you can see this side, and just kind of take your hand and kind of knock it down. And our dash, my friend, is back in. So that's all there is to it. Alright, now before we wrap up the video, just do yourself a favor. Grab your key, go ahead, stick it in the ignition, turn the key on, and verify that your gauges are all working, and they are working. How about that? So you have succeeded in taking the dash partially apart in order to get into your instrument cluster to do repairs. So there you go. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up and say hello, and I'm sure somebody will wonder about this, how to take this dash out and all that. So thanks for watching. Until my next project, I will see you shortly. It looks like it's going to rain, so I guess my job here is done today. So until then, have a good one.